Hey, Charles, good morning. How are you on this hump day?
I'm fighting the flu, but
Ooh,
doing all right overall.
he's a trooper. I'm glad I don't have the. When I was a little kid, I used to get in a lot of trouble, right? School. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but I would get in lots of trouble. I spent a lot of days in the corner with my hands behind my back. Spent a lot of days writing things on the chalkboard. I will not. I'm glad there's not a chalkboard behind me. Otherwise, I'd be writing, I will not doubt Charles. I will not doubt Charles. I will not doubt Charles 1,000 times. Yeah, you got me with that four, and then I cracked a joke with Terry when you said country grammar was your $50 bet. And
Yeah.
I want to congratulate the both of you for hitting that 2 to 5.
Well, hey, you take the money where you can when you know it's a sure bet.
Yeah, yesterday I had a really nice day yesterday at Turf Paradise in the adjusted show. It worked out well for me because I like to try to find one or two horses I could center my bets around. Did that and hit both the pick threes with that one and the two that I singled. And once, because I put the all in front of him and the all behind it, and once that happened, it was good to go. So nice day yesterday. Hopefully we can repeat that today. But unfortunately, I didn't find a single horse today that I wanted to, like a key horse that I wanted to single everything around. Hello, Leo. How are you this morning? How about you? What did you find in this card? How did you grade it out?
I found one race that I singled out.
No, one race. All right. Well,
One
I
race.
mean, I'll bet in every race, but this was a card that was kind of interesting to me because I felt like there was a lot of horses that were similar, and it didn't really have a couple standout horses in there today. So let's see if we can at least find some winners along the way. What do you say, Charles?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do, as always, is going to do race number one. Let's bring up our simulations, Charles, for race number one. Again, we do 1,000 races. We simulate the outcome of the race using speed figures, and we simulate the beginning of the race to see who might be where when the race starts at the quarter-mile marker. Charles, did you find anything in here that you
Yeah.
like?
Well, the simulation says that the three has a 40, just slightly over 42% chance of being on the lead at the quarter pole. So and the one would be the 24% and a little bit over 24%. And I actually agree with those two. They're going to be on the lead, but unfortunately, neither one of them are in my picks.
Hmm.
And in the simulations, it's I guess the true bet here it would be the five. It looks like the five. It's saying it should go off of even money. It's going off an 8-1 morning line. So unfortunately, that one didn't make my bets either.
Well, the simulation, we just take 1,000 races and we simulate them, and it just tells me how many times they win that race based upon their speed figures, and then calculates out what those odds should be. So about 50% of the time, it said Play Arrow might be that winner there. I put together, as always, the way to the winner circle worksheet for this race number one, which is a mile and a 16th. It was supposed to be on the turf. It's a maiden optional claiming 20. It is instead on the all weather because all the turf races are off today. The mile and a 16th on the all weather. The bias favors stalkers. 2+ on the post positions get a little bit of a fair draw. There's a little bit of a rail discount. Real quick, if it's your first time here, the E stands for horses that want to be on the lead. So wire to wire types. EPs could be on the lead or within 2 lengths of the leader. The pressure horses not usually don't want to be on the lead, but they want to hang right behind the leader. So they want to be co-pilots within 2 lengths of the leader. The pressure closer types can pressure the horse or close, when the closers, of course, are always on the way back. As far as the early speed is concerned, it looks to me like the 1 and the 3 are the ones to beat. But on the way home, that 5 horse has a ton of late pace, and might be something that you do have to contend with and maybe live up to those odds, Charles. You say you didn't like that one, so which ones do you got?
Well, it was like I said, I think the one and three are going to be definitely part of the speed out there. But the ten, the ten has a lot of speed, so it depends. A who actually breaks first. Second of all, I think the ten can rate a little bit, even though the simulation doesn't show that. But hey, I like the ten here. He drops in class. He's bred very well. Actually bred more so for the turf, but um, turf horses usually do pretty good on all weather.
Mm-hmm.
The jockey gets 19%, so I like the 10 here. The two horse is my second choice. Ran third last time out. Fits here with these horses, and he will be closing today. And then the 3 horse ran second last time out. Has some speed, like I said, but I just see him faltering at the end. And then my price horse in this race, it'd be the 6. Ran second last time out, and this horse looks like he likes this distance.
Yeah, well, the Tapeta change from the curve is it's a big change. It does tend to favor horses that come from off the pace. I have that 2 horse first, Media Sensation, did tie for the top last race. Speed figure just missed at his first try at this going this level. Last time out with better 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers. And trainer Kathleen O'Connell hits 23% the second time she's around the track with a new horse versus 12% overall. So nearly doubling her normal win rate. That's a huge alpha. Number 3, Chef Mentour. 3 consecutive speed figure increases. Looks like perhaps, well, the turf might have been the right position for this horse, but all weather should be okay as an alternative. Number 10, Chenti, biggest class dropper in this field. Maybe that's why Charles has it at the top. For me, the key is the beginning for this horse at the start. If he breaks sharply and competes for the lead early on, you have a strong chance, and that drop will pay off. And then finally, number 5, Playero, really consistent performer. Was going to try grass for the first time here, but the first 5 were on all weather where he did okay. 2 okay workouts, and I think this one with the class drop and the late pace edge could have an advantage late in the race, which I think will be a benefit on the Tapeta versus the grass, which is a little bit quicker over there at Gulfstream Park. Race number 2, as we move forward on the card, is 1 16th mile on the all-weather track. It's claiming $8,000, purse of 22 grand. At the distance, as we mentioned, it does favor stalkers. 2 and out are fair for the post position. A little bit of a discount if you ride that rail. Charles, before we go on, though, forgot. What's your bet for race 1? He's going to have a coughing fit. All right, $3 double, 10-7 for Charles. Again, for me, a 50-cent trifecta. Again, no key horses. So I'm just going to go 2-3 over to 2-3-10, over to 2-3-5, 10, and 11. All right, my man. Race number 2. Anything from the simulations that stands out to you?
Well, on this one, it definitely shows that the 2 horse should be on the lead. It's well over 65% chance at the quarter pole. The rest of the horses, the next best one would be the 4 at over almost 18%. So anyway, those 2 horses should be out there winging it a little bit there. And let me see. Look here, I got one of them on my picks, but and then when it comes to odds and simulation, it's saying the 3 horse looks like, yeah, the 3 horse, supposed to be 7-1, slightly over 7-1 is 8-1, and then the 4 horse is supposed to be almost 5-1, and he's 8-1 in this race.
It looks like the 7-horse right there, even if it goes off at 2-1, might have some value in there.
Might have some value there too. Yeah.
Indeed, and that looks like it's your top pick, huh?
That is my only single today.
All right. Well, let's look at the pace setup and see why Charles might like that horse. We see here that there is not a true front runner in this group. The only one that has that really ability might be the 4-horse. The 6-horse and the 2 do show that they have the most early tempo when the gates open. One Charles likes and I like as well. The 7 is pressure closer type. So all 3 of these, if the pace is too slow, can move forward. The pace is too fast, they can ride patiently and then strike at the end. 2 closers, the 1 and the 3, neither of which really showed outstanding late pace. So maybe they might be in the back all the way around the track, which is why Charles might have that 7, as do I, as our top choice. Tell us why.
Yeah, that's. I think he could be sitting in the catbird seat. Ran second the last 2 times. Was claimed last time out. The trainer gets 16% overall in the year, but gets 22% on the first time after a claim. And then they add blinkers today, and that trainer also now gets 19% with first time blinkers. So this trainer also claimed this horse back from previous races. So a lot of things saying that they like this horse for a lot of reasons. And so, and I like the way it's setting up for him. And then my second choice is the 6. The horse drops today. Got a little tactical speed. Hot trainer in the last 14 days. Second after a layoff. The 4 horse ran second last time out. It's got that tactical speed also. Hot jockey in the last 7 days. Um, and of course, it's named after me, Charming Charles. Come on,
Mm.
Charlie. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I know you
Yeah.
agree.
I think that's the anti-Charles. In every movie,
Uh,
there's the hero and the anti-hero. I think that's what that is.
yeah, I think they were
The
putting it.
protagonist and the antagonist.
Yeah,
You
I know.
remember that from English class, Charles, or no?
Oh no, I'm done with that.
Yeah, I was done with when I was in your room. Anyway.
Yeah, and my price horse would be the 5. Drops in class today. The horse won last 2 times. Will be closing, so the horse definitely has a shot.
The DC Capper saying good morning to Charles. Ooh, it must be because of that 4-horse conversation we had last week, just leaving me in the cold. All right.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's charming Charlie. Come on.
Charming Charlie, indeed. Charming Charlie's Choices. That's what we should rename the show. Silent Chaos is my top pick, too, for race number 2, the 7-horse. First off, the claim for trainer Morant Sancal, 22% versus 17% overall. So that's a little bit of a alpha angle there. Adding blinkers, which I guess because this horse tends to get off to a slow start, the intent here is to get it off to a better start. Or do you feel like trainer Sancal is Charming Charles? Do you feel like he's experimenting a little bit here, putting blinkers on for the first time?
Well, yeah, I think he is a little bit, but I mean, if you look at this horse's races, I mean, it doesn't look like he needs it, but apparently the jockeys have said something, or he's gotten word that the horse looks around a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, because it does kind of break a little on the slow side. So I was wondering if the intent was to get a little closer to the front than usual today. But I also remember we had a trainer on Horse Center talking about when they claim a horse, a lot of times they don't like to make changes necessarily in the first race because they want to see what they're working with, so that when they do something like put blinkers on or some sort of change that they add to the horse, and that's a little bit of an experiment to see how the horse reacts. And when they do make changes off the claim, that sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean they're trying, not that they don't want to win, but they want to see how the horse reacts, and winning is not necessary. Charming Charlie, well, I should have put this one in last place instead of second for sure, but might not look it in the past performances, but I think this one could be involved from go to photo. Did run some better fractions last time out, something I like to see in the past performances. Number 5, Summer Shandy, winner of 2 in a row after winning 1 of the first 12, 4 consecutive speed figure increases. The trend, as they say in the stock market, is your friend until it's no longer a trend. Number 6, Pepito is the lone P horse in this without a lot of early speed to chase. Sits patiently right behind the leader or leaders, and then we'll try to run by him as they come out of the turn. Charles, this is one of the horses, I guess, that you keyed up on the day. 25 to win on the 7 guy. Anything else on your mind? I see maybe you're trying to put a pick 4 in at the same time. What's going on there? There is the pick 4. So 7 with the 2, 3, 5, 6, with the 2, 5, 6, 7, with the 1, 4, and 6. As Charles apparently is having another coughing fit. Again, for me, I really didn't find a key horse in the whole card today. Charles is keying on that 7. I'm going to do a trifecta: 4, 7, 4, 5, 7, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Today, just a limited budget for me today. Good morning, Charles and Rich. All right, thank you. I appreciate that, DC.
Yeah, I liked it better the first time.
You probably did. So the first time you got a little bit of love, Charles. I'm always giving Charles a hard time, so it's always good for everybody else to lift him back up. Race number 3 on the Gulfstream card is a 5.5 furlongs all weather, claiming 12,500 for a purse of 24 grand. The 5.5 furlong winners typically have a little bit of early speed. There is a little bit of a bonus if you wear number 8 or higher, although post positions 1 through 7 do play fair. Charles, take us through the simulations.
Yeah, the 5 here, it shows that basically 62% of the time it should be at the quarter pole on the lead. Then the 2 horses the next best at 19%. And I have both of them in my picks, so I do believe speed is the key of this race. And then when it comes to simulation odds, it looks like the 3 is should be basically at 2 to 1, and it's 2 to 1, so that looks good. The 4 horse should be around 3.5 to 1, and it should be right now it's at 6 to 1, and then
Mm.
horse to 5. It's basically saying it's a 3 to 1 horse, and it's going off at 8 to 1.
Just a quick review. We put together 1,000 simulations on the speed numbers and on the early pace numbers to get a sense of where these horses might be when the race goes on. In American racing, what is it, Charles? 60% of the horses that have the lead at the quarter pole or are within 2 lengths at the quarter pole go on to win the race. So I
Yeah,
feel like
that's
early speed is
usually
a
the
big,
same. Yeah,
important thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And one of the things too people always talk about is trying to find value with odds, like which horses are your value horses. So indeed, it looks like the 5-horse Ubiquitous is the value horse in this pick or in this race. Race number 3, the 1-horse is scratched, so we don't have to think about that one. The pace setup looks like you should have a pretty fair race up front. You got 4 horses out of 7 that are going to pressure for the lead, so maybe a little bit tilted towards early speed. The 8 and the 5 are boxed off, so it means they have the most early pace, the way I calculate it. One that could disrupt that is the 3-horse. This is what I call a left arrow horse. This one's normally a closer when it does well, when it wins, but it's typical giddy up and go when the gates open and the dirt starts flying. Should put this one in contention, and then it can use its late legs to run by everybody at the end. Charles, is that how you see it playing out? No, it's not, huh?
I don't know. Well, I see the 2 horse, and here's some of the reasons why. This horse was claimed by Hess last time out, and now Hess went back for this horse. He claimed it back after a couple of races ago, and he even is part owner of this horse. This horse has that speed, and he likes it at this track. So I think he had it in mind all along when he claimed this horse, what he was going to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a big uh, asterisk there for watching this horse here. And then the 6 horse is my second pick. He has some speed, more on the technical side. Won last time out, well bet the last 2 times. The 3 horse has some speed, definitely drops in class, fits with these type of horses. And then the 5, like I said, has some speed. He drops in class. He cuts back in distance. He's a dangerous horse. Those 4 horses, I think, are just the 4 horses to beat.
Mm. Well, where you end, I begin with Ubiquitous. This one's a hit or miss coming off the break like today. A couple of really good workouts since that last race suggest that it'll be the hit, not the miss, in the fresh run. One is only 5.5 furlong race, which was on turf with ease. And you'll know when the gates open if this one's going to be a potential winner, because if you break sharp and he's on the lead, I think he's got a pretty good chance, as his quarter-mile marker simulation suggests, to go wire to wire. That 3-horse is my left arrow horse, Barone Sesco, horse that is upped his 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers in his last 2 races with the top last race speed figure last time out. Number 4 is Unified Conquest. This is an every other race horse, meaning that in one race it runs well, or a light switch horse. The next race kind of backs off. The next race it goes back up again. Well, the last one was the down. So if that trend continues, this one should move back up on the 3rd start after a layoff. And this horse also owns the top late pace figure as well. So it should be chasing at the end. Number 2, Pure Spite, was a tough call over year 6 for me, Charles. But this guy's coming back to Gulfstream Park after spending a little bit of time in Los Angeles. Has a bullet workout on December 22nd at Gulfstream Park, which suggests he's glad to be back on the East Coast. He prefers the Hurricanes over the earthquakes for sure. I don't know, which would you prefer, Charles? I actually have been in a hurricane and an earthquake.
Well,
not simultaneously, but I've been in both.
I have not been in a hurricane, so I would say I don't want to be in a hurricane. So earthquake's fine.
Funny story about hurricane. I was in Tahiti for a long time ago. And I woke up in the morning, went to breakfast, and it was windy and everything's outside, and the tables were lifting up, and they call them cyclones down there. And they said, "Oh, you have to go back to your room because there's a cyclone coming." And we're like, "What?" So we went back to the little hut, probably about 50 feet off the beach. And then all of a sudden I started hearing it bam, real loud against the side of the hut, this hut. Bam! I'm like, "What in the hell is that?" So I went outside, Charles. You know what it was? 100-mile-an-hour coconuts smashing into the
Oh,
side of. Can you imagine getting whacked in the head with a 100-mile-an-hour coconut? Oh my
oh,
Lord!
jeez.
And the funny thing is, I knew something was up that morning because when I came outside, usually in the morning, there were a bunch of wild chickens. And in the morning, there's this one-legged wild chicken that will come up to me every day. I don't know. He liked me for whatever reason. I'd feed him, probably because I was feeding him. But that morning, the one-legged chicken wasn't there, and none of the chickens were there. So they knew the weather was coming. But anyway, keep an eye out if you see 80-mile-an-hour coconuts. You don't want them hitting you in the head. I promise you.
No.
Race number 4 before we go on to race 4, you had a bet in race number 3. What do we do,
Yeah.
Charles?
I had to try box my 4 horses on top. So
Hmm.
I think they're a good enough price there that they could do a little price there for the trifecta.
Yeah, I did my trifecta here: 3-5 with a 3-4-5 with a 2-3-4-5 and 6. All right, now we move off to race number 4, which is the 6 furlong on the dirt, claiming 12,500 non-winners of 2 lifetime. The purse here is $24,000 at 6 furlongs on the dirt at that South Florida track. Mostly fair in terms of the post positions, but early speed definitely has the way here. 38% of the horses go wire to wire, Charles. So early speed's going to be in big demand here, and looks to me like one of them has a good shot to get on the lead by itself.
Yeah, it looks like the 2 horses, the solid one that
But
should
I think
break the
that one
gate.
scratched though. Normal Dreamer, yes, it did. So that will
Oh, did
open up.
it?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, well, I didn't have that as my scratch.
Hmm.
Oh, I have it in my picks too. So there
Well,
you
we can
have it.
change that around, yeah. But I think it's
Yeah.
scratched. But go ahead and, in case I'm wrong, and I don't know, go ahead, tell us what you think about what
Okay.
else you see here. Yes, the 2
Yeah.
horses scratched.
Okay. So yeah. So forget the 2. So that now leaves the 4 and the 7. You would have to resubmit the simulation, but
Hmm.
you got the 4 right now at basically 21%, and the 7 at basically 16%,
So
having the lead.
if you take the 2 and split them between the 2, probably 45-55. Those 2 will be on
Something
the
like
lead.
that.
Yeah.
So they should be out there battling it. Um, and then when it comes to odds, you got the 2. Well, the two's gone. The 4 two should be 2 to 1. It's 3 to 1 on morning line, and that's about it. Everything else seems like it's a underlay.
Hmm.
So it's to me it was a wide open race to begin with. So
Yeah, it was one that was going to favor early speed, which the 2 horse would have been one that had the opportunity to get to the front and go wire to wire. Not going to happen today. So that was the absolute speed in this race. Otherwise, this looks like a race that I think it's going to be pretty packed up. There probably won't be more than a length and a half from the nose of the leader to the tail of of these 2. Maybe this guy will be back 2-3 lengths from off the pace, but everybody else should be nose to tail all the way around the track for the most part. And to come down to who has, I think, the best late legs as they come out of the turn, Charles. I know you had your 2 horse scratch, but perhaps you can tell us now what else you like in here.
well, right now I like the 7 horse as my first pick. He's got speed, hot trainer last 14 days, one last time out. So that horse is definitely on a part of my ticket.
Mm-hmm.
The 6 horse is my second choice. Ran second last time out. Has speed, drops in class, and then the 2 scratch. So I'm going to move up my price horse to 5, and the 5 horse that's going to be ran third last time out. Has tactical speed, fits with these horses, and then I probably would throw in that 4. I think the 4 has that tactical speed also that could sit with them. He hasn't done much the last 2 times out, but he fits with this type of group.
So you're going to go 7, 6, 5, and 4.
Yeah.
Got all that corrected. There are no bets for you. So off to my selections for race number 4. I'm going to start with the 4. 4 is running wild. Perfect Provision was the first off the claim for trainer Edgar Baid. Has a really robust work since joining the Baid barn. Should compete for the lead and is a wire-to-wire candidate where, again, 38% go wire-to-wire. Number 5, Sophia Storm flashed some early speed last out. Cuts back in distance from 7 furlongs to 6 furlongs, which I think could be helpful in here. Number 7, Bullet on Tap, going to go with our friend Chantel Sutherland here. She's a good friend of the Horse Center show. Top last race speed figure, getting maiden claiming win in the 15th try, which concerns me a little bit. But when you back it up with the top last race speed figure. It kind of erases in that. My guess here is that Chantel had a choice between this horse and the one horse because she rode both, and then the trainer is the same. And she's one that doesn't pull punches. So I think she's going to pick the one she feels is going to win. Number 6, Match 10, Hair on Fire, or Mach 10, Hair on Fire. Source's race internals last time were better from the beginning to the middle to the end. Should be maybe as good or slightly better in the classic third start. Charles's favorite layoff angle, classic third start after a layoff. And again, no key horses for me today, so just the standard trifecta, 50 cents, 4, 5, 4, 5, 7, 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It's the old Eddie Olczyk axiom that if you have a bet that you like, you might as well make it, because you might be walking around lucky in that race and not know it, Charles. You might have made the right picks. It might be the one bet that you could have won.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, it's when you got a budget, I try to strike where I really think they are.
Mm. Yeah, I understand. That's typically what I'm looking for too, is a couple key horses, something that separates them from the pack. Just really nothing for me like that today. Race number 5 is 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Nope. It's now 1 mile and 70 yards on the all-weather track. I suspect that it'll play pretty similarly to what you see at 1 mile and a 16th on the Tapeta course. And that's going to be, the post positions are mostly fair. Stalker types tend to do the best on the Tapeta course. Charles, in race number 5, the only horse, well, we got 2 horses that are scratched, the 7 and the 8. So these 2 are not in, and the 8 looked like it was going to be the early speed. So that's probably going to be handed over pretty handsomely to just one of them.
Yeah, and that looks like it's going to be the 2. But even before that, I didn't think the 2 was going to hang on. And now he might have a shot at hanging on at least a piece of the pie at the end. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's got a 45% chance now with the 8 out. That percentage probably goes up really big time.
And, yeah, I'd expect to be on the lead for sure.
Yeah, and then with odds, he actually looks good on odds too. You know, basically 6-1, going off at 12-1 right now. Yeah, that's about it. The 8 was scratched, so maybe the 4, 2-1, and it's going off 2.5-1 right now. So it's going to probably go off real close to the odds it should.
So yeah, I think this. I'm going to probably regret not having the 2 a little bit higher up in my picks. In race number 5, indeed, the 7 and 8 were out. Maybe changes the race shape a little bit, makes it a little bit more even, because you had a bunch of horses that were all kind of forwardly placed. Of the early speed, it does look like the 2 horse is going to be the one that you're going to have to pass if you want to win this race. 5 horse might be the one that puts enough pressure on it that its legs get a little weary at the end, giving these folks back here a chance to run by it when they hit the finish line. How do you see it when they do hit that line, Charles?
Yeah, I'm counting on that 5 to do a little damage to the 2. I was counting on the 5 to do damage with the 2 and the 8, so I'm still counting on that 5 a little bit on the front end. My first pick here is the 1 horse. This horse would be closing pretty good. Ran second last time out. This is third after a layoff. My favorite angle to play. You got Tyler and Maker as a combo, jockey and trainer combo. This horse is very well bred, very well. And, you know, even though he was bred probably more so on the turf, he can handle this all weather. I could tell you that right now. And then the 4 horse ran second last time out. This is his second time after a layoff. And he gets IRAD, so a little dangerous there with the 4. Mm-hmm. And then the 6 horse is my third choice. Ran third last time, second after a layoff, and should be closing at the end. And then, like I said, the 5 horse is my price horse of the day. He has the speed. He might hang on for some of the trifectas and stuff. And he fits here with these type of horses.
In race number 5, I'm going to start off with the 4 horse. I did adjust my bet a little bit after these scratches in here, but I'm going to start off in race number 5 with Indy Lion. This resume says that an uptick in performance is possible in the second start after a layoff. I think getting Irad Ortiz as the jockey is big help here. Number 1, Chess's Dream. On Gulfstream grass, that doesn't matter. But at the distance, he's run 7 times, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. So clearly a horse that likes the distance. Top last race speed figure, but the cycle horses like Resume for cycles says there's probably some regression in the third start after the layoff. I'd like to look and see how horses have done previously. If you see that every time in the third race off the layoff, the horse regresses a little bit, tells me maybe 2 races in a rest is the right schedule. Only regressed a little bit though. Number 6, Midnight Hurricane, got the maiden special weight win. That was in turf, so now they're going to go to the all-weather. Closed at 5.5 furlongs in the last pair. So I do feel like going that extra distance today is going to be really loved by Midnight Hurricane. An upped its speed number in all of its races after the debut. So the horse just getting better and better and better. Adding that additional distance today, I think is going to be a huge hit for number 6. And then KC Chief, kind of hard to ignore. Trainer Ruben Garcida winning 12 of 28 when going from a route to a sprint. That's a pretty big number there, Charles, for sure. For your trifecta, you have, what do you got going on here?
I have the 1 of 4 on top with the 1, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 4, 5,
well, there's
6.
no 2, so we could take that 2 out, right?
No, it's the 8 that's out.
Well, the 8 that's out. All right. Yeah.
And
7, 8.
I'm replacing the 8 with the 3.
With the 3.
Because I like to have another. So
I
I like to have surprises at the end there.
1, 2, 3. So this is a great thing about Google Sheets is we can make the adjustments on the fly, and we'll take out the 8. So there you go.
There you go.
So Charles has the 1, 4 with the 1, 4, 5, 6 with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go with the 1, 4. I just did add the 2 in right there because that change in the early pace should put the horse up near the front. The question is who passes it at the end, and then the 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 at the back end for my bet in race number 5. We're going to go on now, Charles, to race number 6, about 9 minutes away to race number 1. So got a little bit of time there. Race number 6 is 1 mile on the dirt track. It's claiming $20,000 for a purse of $28,000. If you're looking for the kind of horse that typically wins at 1 mile on the dirt course at Gulfstream Park, early speed, post positions 1 through 7, play fair, 8 and out, get a little bit of a bonus. And in race number 6, we also have a scratch in here, Charles, and I think that is the 7 horses not out, but didn't look like Duke Skywalker was going to participate much anyway.
No, it didn't look like that. In this race, it looks like there's basically a 3 horse going to the lead for the quarter pole, and right now the 1 has the edge a little bit. It looks like just basically a little bit over 39% of him hitting the quarter pole on the lead, but you also have the 5 and then the 3 right behind him. And believe it or not, all 3 of them are in my picks. So I believe it's a speed race all the way. And then when it comes to odds, you have the 2 horse. He should be a very short price. And, a morning line says a little bit over even money. So you're probably going to get a short price with that too, no matter what. And then probably the 4 is the next one at 8, almost 9-1. Morning line is 12. So those 2 are probably the odds that are getting value there. Other than that, on the simulations of the odds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like that 2 horse is the one to beat in race number 6. Again, the 7 is out. Although there is something interesting in this. You got the 1 horse standard. With the 7 going out, that could really benefit the 1 because it's really not going to get a ton of pressure from other horses that want to be on the lead. So if the 1 gets to the lead, you got a lot of other pressure horses. This group will be very happy to sit right behind this 1 horse, let it do its thing. If they can control the tempo, it has a good shot to go wire to wire. But you do have this 2 horse sitting right off the pace. What I like about this 2 horses is the 18-point late pace advantage. So if it's within like a length or length and a half of the 1 horse coming out of the turn or any of these other horses, it's just going to stroll right on by and make it look easy, Charles. I don't know if that's going to be – this is the 1 horse I was thinking about keying around today, but I expect it to go off around 4 to 5. Quite honestly, to me, that's not a horse I want to key on. Maybe it's something you put a straight-up bet on. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the 2 horse looks pretty dangerous, but I did not go with him as my first pick. I think the 3 has enough speed to either A, take the lead wire to wire, or sit like second and pick it up where he needs to be. Cuts back in distance today, and has improved The last three races this horse has ran, if you really look at him, his speed ratings are getting better and better and better. So that's another great angle to look at. You got to see at least three races in a row of it improving. And then my second choice is the two. The horse has definitely got that tactical speed more on the closing side. Drops in class today. Trainer gets 19% with 90 plus days off. So you got a fresh horse here that could probably just sit off of the leaders and pounce on them. Back on dirt today. So look out with that horse. And then the five horse, as we said, is one of them with speed, drops in class, got IRAD. Not much more to say about that horse other than those three things. And then my price horse is the one, definitely has some speed to go with him. Claim two back. The trainer is second after a claim. Gets 33%. So that's a great angle. And that's why I did a trifecta, but I did a trifecta with my top two on the top.
It looks like you did a pick three, it says here.
Pick three.
Did you mean a trifecta?
No, I meant pick three. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. Pick three. Yeah, because there's no 11 horse in this race. So you got the 2, 3 in this race, and then the 1, 5, 8, and 9 in the next race, and then the 2, 5, 6, 8, and 11. Did you mean to put the 1 in there because you do have a kind of a comment?
No, I didn't.
All right, I'm just being a grammatical. I'm being that guy.
You know what? I did mean to put the 1 in there.
Look at that. So
yeah.
Did you spend over $100 today, Charles?
No, I did not.
Gonna be close. I feel like breaking the rules. Charming Charles. Race number 6 for me. I got that 2 horse Rod to Rod. Gonna go off at a short price, but it has that ginormous late pace edge. This race just sets up nicely. Gonna sit right behind the leaders and use those late legs to just go on by for the W. Number 4, Aztec, ran the top last race. Speed figure, did so with better internals for the race, particularly in the second half. This is another horse that in its third start off a layoff, the only other 3 race cycle that it had, it did regress a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it back up off of its last performance. Number 5, Dominican Ice appears to be on the upswing, was considerably better in the later part of its last race. And then finally, number 1, Wall Street Trader, not trader as in like someone who defies their country, but trader, someone who makes money. Top choice aside, has the highest performance ceiling for this group. Will absolutely need to be close to the front and to the top of his game, as the average race that he runs would not be competitive for a top prize. I'm going to do a trifecta here, 2-4 with the 2-4-5 with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So those are inside 5 horses, hoping to see something positive from all of them. Race number 1, Charles, looks like it's about to kick off here, although Gulfstream's kind of funky in how they do things. Like, it says 0 minutes to post, and they still have 10 minutes to walk around to get to the gate. So we probably have more than enough time to do race number 7, I would suspect, which is a 5 furlong race on the all-weather track, claiming 12.5. Non-winners at 2 lifetime. The purse is 24 grand at 5 furlongs on the Tapeta course. Early speed does matter. 4 and out have a little bit better winning percentage than 1, 2, and 3. And the rail does get a little bit of a penalty, of course. That's why I put the rail horse first, because I like to defy the odds. Charles, what do you see in terms of odds and speed?
When it comes to speed, it looks like the 3 is going to be on the lead at the quarter pole. It's got basically a 46% chance. The next closest guy is, basically 15%, which would be the 9, which he's in my picks. And, you got a couple others around 14 and 13%. So you do have a lot of other speed in here. It just looks like the 3 is going to pop the gate the best when it comes to that. But when it comes to odds, it looks like the 3 horse is simulated odds is supposed to be 4-1, going off of 6. And then maybe the 9 is supposed to go off 2-1. It's going off basically 3.5. They're very close, and the same thing with the 1. It's supposed to be 3, and it's going off 4.5.
Yes, the morning line. The pace setup for this race is pretty balanced. You got a couple of horses that want to be on the front here with the 4 and the 8, but they might be false speed because their early pace numbers suggest that the 1 and the 9 are the ones that are likely to have the early pace. So when you see horses like this, where the horses behind it have a little bit early speed, they're big-time fade candidates, although The 8 horse does have the second best late pace numbers in the field. I think this is a race that's probably going to be really competitive because all but the 6, the 7, and the 4, when you add up all of their pace figures, they're all very similar. So this one looks to me like it's pretty wide open. Charles, how did you settle on your picks here?
I kept on going back and forth on this race, and I put at the beginning, my first choice is open race. It's an open race. That's what I put.
Yeah, that's exactly what the pace setup
Uh,
says too.
so
They're about to start race number 1, Charles. So let's see how race number 1 goes.
Okay, go ahead.
Here are our picks again for race number 1. A lot of scratches in this race because 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 10. So it looks like there were a few more scratches. The 4, yeah, the 8 and the 9 have scratched out too. Do we have those in the beginning? Yes, we did have them from the get-go. So we knew what we were working with, Charles. And off they go. The 1 kind of stumbled a little bit out of the gate. The 3, as the sheet suggested, should be competitive for the lead, although there is the 11 horse that just actually sprung out to the lead all by itself. And then into its inside, you have the 3 on the rail and the 10. Actually, the 3 went outside. It's the 11 followed by the 10. Got the 6 on the rail. The 3 is the horse to the outside of the 6. So they come through the opening quarter in 24 and 13 for 1 mile and a 16th. Maybe a little bit on the quick side for the 11. Probably going to need to tone it down a little bit. 10 horse is right behind us. They've stretched out with the 10, the 11, the 10, the 6, and then the 3. Behind that, you have the 2 and the 5. So pretty tight in the back as the 10 and the 11 continue to lead the way. Opening half and 47 and a half. So it actually picked up the tempo a little bit there. I don't know how that's going to hold out for that 11 horse. Setting up pretty nicely for your Charles's 10 right about now, because he looks like he's about to take that lead. He's inching up on it. Some of the horses from the back are starting to make their move. It looks like maybe the 3 has a lot of momentum. To the outside of the 3, we see the 5 showing a little momentum. The 3 has since slid down to the rail because the 11 pushed everybody up the track. So that probably ruined your 10 horse's chance, Charles. Yeah, absolutely. He's going to carry him into the grandstands. I don't know who rode that 11, but I don't think they're going to be happy with him in the jockey's room at all. So it looks like it's going to come down to the 3, and then you have the 5 on the outside. And where is the 2 horse? The 2 horse is in the middle. So it's going to go 3, 2, and 5. So 3, 2, and 5. And I open it up with the trifecta. 3, 2, and 5. 3 horse went off at 4-1. The 2 horse was the 3-2 favorite, and the 5 horse went off at 7-1. And I'm telling you, they're not going to be happy with who was riding the 11 horse there. Brendan Chase Bollinger are going to have some questions to answer when they get back to the jocks room, I'm sure. At least from Edgar Zayas is going to be like, boy, what were you doing? Could see a repeat of Paco and Irad. All right, anyway.
Yeah.
Back to race number 7 we were on, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we went through the pace setup, through the charts here. Tell us what you like in race 7.
Well, I'm ending up with the 5 on top. The horse drops in class today. Has that tactical speed, cuts back in distance. Trainer gets 18% when he drops him in the claiming races. So horse has got a good shot there. The 9 horse is my second choice. It's got tactical speed, ran 3rd last time out, 2nd after a layoff. So, he's going to be right there, I believe. The 1 horse, won last time out, well bet last time out, and has speed, as we already stated. There's actually a lot of speed in this race.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only maiden in the race, the 8, is my price horse. That shows you how wide open it is. I got a maiden to beat winners. Has my 4th pick, but has speed, and he drops in class. He's got some talent. It's just he hasn't punched his ticket yet.
Yeah, it looks like he has some talent. I agree with you. I have him in my second spot. I got the 1 despite that rail penalty. Substantial early race improvement in the last. It all totaled up to be the top last race speed figure. Number 8, that horse you're talking about that hasn't won a race, funny enough, but increased its speed race rating in every single race after the debut. So if it continues up that ladder, should be really competitive in this spot. Number 5, I Said Hey. He's taking a pretty good size drop in class here. Been very strong at the distance, at least finishing second. 9 times out, 1 win, 5 seconds. So you know he wants to compete, and a third in that mix. Number 9, Flip My ID. One of those horses that was better internal from the middle to the beginning to the end. Won its first race on the all-weather track. Limited race says in race number 2 off a layoff and the second start on the all-weather track. Should improve here once again. You don't have a bet, but I'm going to do the standard trifecta. Just hit for me in race number 1. Let's see how many of these we can collect today. 1-8 with the 1-5-8 with the 1-3-5-8 and 9. And that takes us to race number 8, the final race on the Gulfstream card today. Race 8 is a 7.5 furlong, supposed to be on turf. It's going to be 1 mile and 70 yards instead on the all-weather track. There's only one scratch here. The 9 horse is not involved in that race. Again, 1 mile and 70 yards on the all-weather Tapeta, probably going to favor stalkers. Post positions tend to be kind of fair there, Charles. Not including the 9. Looks to me like the 2 horses on the outside, provided they don't try to run each other off the track again. Looks like the pace figure set up for those 2 to duel out.
Yeah, it looks like a two horse dueling it out for the quarter pole. The 10 and the 11. I have the 11 in my picks. I think the speed can hang on there, and even if you look at that 10, look at the odds on that simulated odds. He's supposed to go off 2.5, and his morning line is 12-1.
You think maybe
Definitely
Pete Aiello might have mixed that one up a little bit?
he might have, or is there value there? I don't know.
Well, we'll find out what the bettors think, right, when we get there.
Yeah, when at the end we'll find out on that aspect.
I would suspect that based upon the way these rebate houses work and these syndicates work, I don't think that horse is going to go off at 12-1. I think you'll see its odds come down pretty aggressively.
Yeah, so do I. And in this race overall is kind of wide open. If you go back a couple of races and see my pick 4 on my ticket, I have a lot of horses in this race. So it's I think it's pretty wide open.
What was the pick 3 that you had? There you go.
Pick 3, excuse me. Pick 3. And, I got 6 horses out of, 10 horses? So I got 60% of the field. So I think it's kind of a wide open race here.
So if you want to know which one's going to win, pick from the other 4.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember one day I was at the OTB with some buddies, a cold, snowy day in Chicago. I was betting on Woodbine, and there was like 7 or 8 horses in the last leg. And the lowest payout on the pick 4 was like $5,000. So I was going to be happy. I had, I think, 7 out of 8 horses, and you know which one won.
Yeah. That's, I don't know.
And I think everybody who's ever bet horse racing knows exactly the end of that story, right? They've all lived it.
Yep. It's happened to them at least once.
All right. So let's see what's going to happen when the gates open in terms of pace setup. You don't have any true front runners in here. So I think if you get to the front, despite the fact that it's on Tapeta, you could have a little bit of an advantage. The 4, the 5, and that 10 horse look to me like they're the ones with the early speed. The 9 horse, which was one of the, I think it was the only pure class dropper, not in this race today. Bunch of horses, I think they're going to be, again, nose to tail, not all that far apart because all pressure horses and closers. It is a wide open race, Charles. So how did you settle on your picks here?
Well, I'm going with the 8 horse. A closer here, bred for this distance. Ran well last time out. Even though it was 5th, he only lost by a length and a half. This horse now gets IRAD to ride him, so watch this horse to improve a lot, I believe. The 11 horse, which was bred very well, but mainly for turf, but I think that transfers over to the all-weather, and he's bred for this distance. Ran well last time out, also in the same exact race as the 8 horse, but this one ran 4th. So, I see this horse improving too, and he gets Jose Ortiz. So could this be an Ortiz exacta? Maybe. And then, I got my third choice here is the 5 horse. Ran 2nd last time out. Well bet last time. Bred very well. Has the tactical speed. And then my price horse, the 1, ran 3rd last time out. It gets Edgar Prado. He's an old timer, but I tell you what, he could bring in long shots. He had made a living doing this, and he's still very good at his age.
I'm going to start off with Queen Daymar in the last race. That's 6 horse. It's interesting how you and I don't agree on a lot in here. Some agreement, but some disagreement too. This one benefits, I think, a lot, probably more than any of the other horses in this race, from being moved to the all-weather from the turf. Did tie for the top last race speed figure, but the other one that did tie got scratched out of this race. So has 2 nice workouts since that last race. That's something I like to see, a horse that's on the improve and then has a nice workout in between races. So that horse should continue to be sharp. Number 10, Moonlight Vision, is another one that tied for the top last race speed figure. Missed by a neck, just this much in its last race. Did show major improvement in career start number 2. So maybe in career start number 3, if the horse can make a similar move forward, will be an easy winner. Number 5, Cloud Storage. This is another horse that I feel like gets the benefit of the race being moved to the Tapeta on the all-weather. 6 times out with the trio of thirds in the mix. Number 11, Cloudy Bay. The race internals got better from start to finish in last race. I think there's an additional step up here, and this girl is going to be very competitive for the W. Charles doesn't have a bet. I'm going to go the 5, 6, and 10. 5, 6, and 10. I do think those 3 are the top horses on the all-weather surface. And then I'm going to end the back end 2, 5, 6, 7, 10, and 11. Maybe you might want to throw in Charles's 8 in case I overlook something there, because I don't have it in my selections at all, Charles.
It's the same thing with my pick 3. In that last leg, like I said, I have 6 horses, but I don't have the 10.
Maybe the 6 will take care of it for both of us, and then I can have the 10 run second.
Okay.
Here are our full picks for the day at Gulfstream Park. I will be putting the entire the race notes and our suggested wagers over at horseracingtoday.net in just a little bit. Down in the description below, you do see a way to support the show. Heck, yesterday we hit some really nice winners. If you got some, show your love for the show. Click on the link below to get some gear, the hat, the HRT stuff. You can personalize it like our great friend Jamie Martinez and Willie do. So make sure you head on over there to do that. Tonight, if you're going to be playing everybody's favorite late night track, Turfway Park on that all-weather, it is the free track over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There's a link again for that in the description. Please use that. Head on over there. See what we like today at Turfway Park. First post time, 5:55 p.m. Eastern. We like the 6 horse, Loma Vista, as a best bet. So you're going to want to make sure you check that out. And with college football in the heat of bowl season, our good friend, Professor Sides, will have all of his college plays throughout the championship series and all of the bowl games coming up in just a couple of days, those New Year's Day and before New Year's Day and every day through December. So make sure you check him out as well in the link in the description down below. And if you go watch his show, make sure you comment in the user section and let him know that Horse Racing Today sent you. We would greatly, greatly appreciate that. All right, Charles, that wraps up our show for today. Any final thoughts before we get up and get out of here?
Oh, no, that's about it. What track are we doing tomorrow? Is it Gulfstream?
They're going to do Gulfstream again because I'm not quite sure what the East Coast weather is going to look like. I know that they've canceled parks again. I think Aqueduct's good to go. Next week, we'll get back to our normal routine, I hope. But we'll find out what the new year brings when we get into the new year. So we're definitely going to do Gulfstream again tomorrow. Just to give you the opening pick, the opening trifecta, the 325 paid $32.40, which is about half of what I spent so far today. So I can catch one more ticket. It'll be another profitable day, Charles.
That's right. That's how you do it.
That's what we're looking for, indeed. We appreciate that. All right, DC Cooper, thank you for the race. Yeah, hopefully you bet it. Yesterday we were doing pretty well with the with Turf Paradise as well. So maybe you know how it goes for horse players, Charles. You get in a good streak and then you get a little cold. So you go through this whole mental game. Man, I'm good at this. And then as soon as you get that, man, I'm good at this feeling, you're like, no, stop, because you're gonna jinx yourself. And then you go down, and you lose a cup, and you're like, man, I suck at this. And then you know the rebound's about to come, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, for me, it's like when I see I'm on a hot streak, I just have to roll with it.
Thanks, Mike. We appreciate the kind words. Make sure if you haven't done so that you go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. hit us up with the thumbs up. We appreciate that on Facebook and on YouTube. Helps us out. Follow us on Twitter. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers on Twitter, 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, 10,000 subscribers on TikTok by the end of 2023. That's our goal. So tell your horse playing friends. I know you always want to keep a secret if it's good, but help us out a little bit. And then you see down below, Horse Race the number 2 day is where you can follow us on all of our social sites. All right, folks, that takes us through Hump Day. Charles and I will be back same time tomorrow to cover the Gulfstream Park. On Friday, good friend Tom and I will get together again for Shot 10. I had a really nice trifecta at Shot 10 last week, so hopefully we can follow that up again with the Insomnia Racing for 4 and Fridays. Charles, are you joining me on Saturday? All right, so we're not quite sure what we're going to do yet. Maybe we'll go back to the West Coast for Santa Anita, but we'll look at where some of the biggest stakes races are for our Saturday show. And then Terry and I will return on Monday. And then Sean, and I don't know if it's Jamie or Julie, but they'll get back to Horse Center next year in 2023. So looking forward to that. All right, Charles, I certainly hope you feel better by tomorrow so you don't have to hit the cough button as many times. And then until then, Charles, I hope that you feel better and everybody that you're betting, no matter what you're doing, it ends up in
the winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Charles and I look forward to joining you tomorrow. Have a fantastic Hump Day.